What do you think, Doug?
Well, I think Wendy has a good point. There are a couple surprises in 2023 that really helped on the inflation front. For the top line, the moderation in energy prices is a big part of the story. In the PCE, that's still down 5% year over year. The second big surprise is the immigration, about 3.3 million immigrants, well above what anyone expected. And the third big surprise is the productivity boom. I mean, we saw the biggest reversal in productivity growth from negative to positive that we've seen in a decade. And you put all those sort of beneficial supply shocks together, you get pretty easy disinflation. It's exactly what we saw. The question is, will it continue? And, you know, it is worth noting that the one place where we've had the sticky inflation is shelter. And, you know, if you get 3 million people coming in the country, they have to live somewhere. And so you get some demand impacts first, and then later you get some labor supply benefits.
So that gets you to where, let's just put that, Doug, in context of what we heard from Fed Chairman Powell yesterday.
I would say that, you know, they have the tone about right. I don't think we learned an enormous amount in the past 2 months. So the moderation in inflation is what it is, and they have no reason to change at this point. Everything we're seeing in the economy keeps coming in stronger than expected. So I think the three rate cuts that people are talking about is the upper bound, quite frankly. It's likely to come in lower than that when we see the end of the day.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm interested, Doug. It sounds like the Fed can affect a lot of things in the economy, but because of the dynamics that both you're talking about and Wendy's talking about, the Fed is not going to have much effect on housing and can't really bring that essential part of the index down. So what's interesting to me is, what do? Do they give up on that last bit of inflation there and just kind of abide it? It was part of my question yesterday to Powell was, am I seeing that because you're going higher on growth and not changing your outlook for 3 cuts, that you're willing to abide or at least take more time bringing inflation down? What's your take on that, Doug?
Well, first of all, you're right. I mean, the Fed controls components of demand. It can't do anything on all these supply factors. And the supply factors were the story last year. And the Fed benefited from that. If they go the other way, they're going to not benefit from it this year. So we'll see. Now, you know, are they going to stop short of the 2% target? I would have said over the past couple of years, no way. If you go back to the stance that Powell took in August of 22 at Jackson Hole, you know, we're prepared to do too much as opposed to too little. The only mistake the Volcker Fed made was to pause prematurely. All of that dictated that they would get to 2% even if it imposed fairly substantial cost. It's been more dovish recently, and maybe they feel they can maintain their credibility, restore their credibility, even if they don't get back to 2. But I would have bet against that over the past couple of years. I think they felt they had to get back to 2 to reestablish their authority over monetary policy and to reestablish their credibility. They made a huge mistake in 21, and they, you know, they've acknowledged that, and they have to get back to a point where people trust them.